They had
Okay, we're
maybe a rep.
live. So it's okay. You can talk, but I just want you to know
I
we're live.
in here and Carolyn's like,
Okay.
oh, live.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know, because you're like, oh boy. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, we're live.
Traffic was
Yeah.
crazy.
Hi, everybody.
Because I was right in the middle of the press conference. Hi, Sherry Ann. Hi, Deborah. Jeanette. Hello there. Michelle Newton. Hi. How are you? Let's see here. Rosalita. Good, Rochelle. How are you? Let's see one thing. Hold on one second. I'm just going to put something here so I remember that. Okay. Where was I? I lost my thing. There we go. Rosalita, Rochelle, Deborah, Elle. Oh, I forgot to do that. Sean Sneed. Good to see you, Rochelle. Hi, N. Cheever. How are you? Let's see. So, what's going on? A lot, right? Now, someone just said something trying to tie this guy to. Guys, please. There's Five Flower Girl. He was a vegan. Hold on a minute. So he was a vegan, and according to his aunt, who married into the family, wasn't blood related, he was very OCD about his food. Now, a vegan restaurant in the area is that Mad Greek, where two of the girls worked. And I've said early on that we never really heard a lot from that restaurant, right? We didn't hear from coworkers. We had a message from the restaurant that we read about how sad they were, but not a lot of people that came forward as those girls' coworkers or any ties that someone could have targeted them from that restaurant. But what, being that he was only 15 miles away in Washington, did he ever go to that restaurant or frequent that restaurant, that Mad Greek restaurant? Because that could be a way that he got to know those girls, two of the girls. So
I was thinking too.
that was one way. Another way, people are saying, well, did he go to frat parties? I think it would be kind of a little bit strange if he, as a 28-year-old attending school in Washington, would go to a frat party. Like, that doesn't even make sense. I could see maybe he would go to the corner club or somewhere around there. Maybe at one point was he asked back by somebody? I don't know, but nobody's really mentioned it. Now I hear that Kaylee's father said he doesn't know who this guy is, and now someone's saying that Kaylee's father says they do. Have you heard that?
I heard that, that he said he was starting to see connections between Kaylee and this guy, which, we don't know exactly what that means. They could just be like, maybe he's trying to think of potential ways they could have run across each other, yeah.
Okay. And there's some erroneous information that his sister lives next door. That is so untrue. He's got two older sisters. One is in New Jersey, one is in Pennsylvania.
I'll read you a little blurb. It was on ABC News, the article that Nicole sent me. Steve Goncalves said no one in the family knows or recognizes the suspect, but in the hours since they first learned his name, they are starting to see connections between him and Kaylee Goncalves that they aren't ready to discuss yet. And then it says, now that there's a person and a name that someone can specifically look at and see if there's any connections in any way. So they're just trying to figure it out. The family's attorney, Shannon Gray, told ABC News. So it sounds more like he's, searching for connections and maybe starting to see where there might be some.
And he's the only parent that's come forward and said anything at this time.
Well, it said family, but there's a picture of him underneath it, so I was just, I guess, assuming that meant him.
Right. No,
And
I
he's
mean
the
like
first, yeah.
Madison's father or,
Oh yeah,
Ethan's
that's right. I've
parents.
seen that one thing that says Steve Goncalves said. Yeah.
Let me see something here.
I have been scratching my head trying to figure out what possible connection it could possibly be that they are starting to see, I was thinking like, okay, so maybe, Kaylee didn't work at the Mad Greek, right? But maybe
No, she
she
didn't.
did work somewhere, but maybe he ran across her at her job, that kind of thing. Like where he would have observed her or the other girls,
Right. So just in case you're just following us, how did this arrest happen? There was genetic genealogy that helped the investigators identify the suspect. A source with knowledge of the case said DNA was found in the Idaho crime scene that was taken through a public database to find potential matches for family members. Once the potential family matches were found, subsequent investigative work by law enforcement led to the identification of Kohberger, according to the source. The suspect drove across the country in the white car, that Hyundai Elantra, to his parents' house. Sometime right before Christmas, they were zeroing in on him being in or going to Pennsylvania, said the source. An FBI surveillance team from the Philadelphia field office began tracking him for 4 days in the area where he was arrested, according to sources. While he was being watched, investigators from the Moscow Police Department, the Idaho State Police Homicide Bureau, and the FBI worked with prosecutors to develop sufficient probable cause to obtain the warrant. Once the warrant was issued, the Pennsylvania State Police and FBI made the arrest. It was like 3 something in the morning yesterday. All the police chief said the Elantra has been located, but they're still looking for the knife that was used in the murders. Which, come on, at this point, he drove across the country. That could be at any place, any body of water, any place. That's going to be like a needle in a haystack, unless he divulges that in some kind of a deal. I don't know. Let's see. He was arraigned Friday morning in Pennsylvania, has a court hearing on extradition on Tuesday, January 3rd. Let's see. He is being represented by a public defender, so he already has an attorney. That could be the reason that the crime scene cleaning was halted, because maybe his defense attorney wants to get into the house before they clean it. Let's see. Anything else here? Pullman is only about 9 miles from the crime scene house. Let's see. And we talked about before how that post he put on Reddit, all about wanting to know the psychology behind people who commit crimes and those that got caught and what they did and how far they planned it out. And then I went through all of the questions that he put on there. Apparently Reddit has pulled those posts of his, but he was posting that, and that was when he was at DeSales University in Allentown, where he graduated first with a bachelor and then with a master's in criminal justice in 2022. He had only been in Washington a very short time, which is very hard to understand because he was in Pennsylvania, stayed in Pennsylvania all of this time, and then went clear across the country to Washington, and within, a couple of months he commits 4 murders. It's just so strange. What brought him out there? Was there something that brought him out there? Did he beat people in a chat room online? he meet people through that project. You know, I don't, there's just, it's so strange how he would just go out there and then right away kill 4 people. It's crazy. And when exactly did he return back to Pennsylvania? Was it Thanksgiving and he stayed there? Or was it Thanksgiving and he went back and then came back? You know, what did he do? They're searching his apartment and his office and all of that stuff. They did that today. Let's see.
I saw that about searching his office. Why would he have an office though at the university?
Now, where was he the teaching assistant was in Washington, wasn't it?
I wasn't sure about that because I looked, but I didn't see that. And I heard other people talking about it though. So he was a teaching assistant.
It could be with that. I don't know.
Nicole was saying she saw something about, I guess in the Facebook group, someone was saying that perhaps it was Nicole, was it Xana's sister? They were saying maybe.
Yeah, Xana's sister went to the college where he was a teaching assistant at. I don't know if she was in the class or what, but that was said. Not sure as to the validity of that claim, but that was said, allegedly.
Yes.
And
Has it-
Elle, the numbers in Slack, Elle, go get it in Slack. Elle wants to come up. She was asking, but the numbers in
The
Slack.
numbers in Slack, Al.
I don't think
But I
she's
was
on
thinking-
Slack. Or just go to the community tab.
Yeah.
There's also something which I think is totally fake going around, showing his mother's name, requesting a reservation, and to be seated, somebody on TikTok again, in a dark area. But it doesn't make any sense because the reservation is for one person. That looks fake to me. It just looks fake. There's a lot of fake information. As I said before, there's a lot of profiles being created for him. It's a ploy to get a bunch of subscribers, and then they'll change the name. So there's been numerous Instagram profiles, numerous Facebook profiles. They have even gone so far as to put Facebook profiles with the name, his name, hyphen, and Goncalves, with a couple, and then they come into the group and say, stop harassing us, and blah, blah. You know, it's just, some people need attention really badly. And
That's true.
when you go to the profile, you know, it says new member, there's nothing else on the page. Yeah, it's either just a weird coincidence or what is it? Just set up with all these other fake profiles. So if I'm wrong about that one, then I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm wrong. All of a sudden, these 2 people just come in and say, oh, please don't harass us. We're not related at all to these murder people, but they happen to have a hyphenated last name that includes the suspect's name and one of the victims. That's a brand new member of the group. They become a member just to come in and say, don't contact us, right?
That's very sus. Yeah.
That's very sus, and I'm sorry, it's very sus. If even the 0.00001% chance it's legit,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it seems very sus. And there's a lot of fake profiles going around, lots of them that are being created, and they do this a lot. Like they'll also do something like they did it with Gabby Petito. They'll make a page, Gabby Petito or something, and they'll either try to pass it off as her page or something just to get a whole bunch of subscribers, and then they'll go ahead and I believe they just changed the name after that. So watch out for that. They're also trying to just put stuff on that page to make connections that aren't even there. Now there was that Papa Roger or something that's saying that is wiped from Facebook. I don't even know what that was that we're trying to say that looked like him. There's been so many things said in there.
Yeah, I meant to look up Papa Roger on TikTok and I forgot. Although he just doesn't seem like a TikTok type of person to me, but
They're saying that he was lurking in the group under that name. People are saying he called in to shows, to get. It's just, it's gone crazy. It's gone like next level now.
I think there's a possibility he may have called into a show at all, ever.
Could be, but I mean, it could also be just somebody saying something. Let me see.
I was just wondering about it because at first I was like, nah, and then I was like, well, like, maybe cockiness, how certain of these people like to taunt authorities or demonstrate how they're so much smarter than everybody. I don't know what the content of these shows were, so I don't know.
There's various. Pull this down.
But like calling into a podcast would be like today's version of writing a letter to the newspaper, right?
Yeah.
Although I do have my doubts that he did that. I mean, because I've been thinking with his degree and all that study in that area, that he probably spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to get away with it, And it doesn't make sense that he would unnecessarily, put himself at risk by doing something like that. Someone recognizing his voice or something like that,
The reason they're saying that he was this Papa Roger, I don't know how they've decided it, because they said that there was somebody in a group that started to give information, and some of the information they said, I believe the killer came from the high side of the house. They were covered in blood after the attack. Another post of theirs said, of the evidence released, the murder weapon has been consistent as a large fixed blade knife. This leads me to believe they found the sheath. This evidence was released prior to autopsies. Let's see what they said. He said, did the killer drive or walk to and from the scene? Thoughts. This is on the high side of the house, showing a picture. They found evidence here. It's likely blood dripping from the killers. Either they fled through the area or they were parked there, this being the most strategic entrance point. But I don't know why they're saying that this is him, okay? Based on the evidence, this is where I believe Zaina was found. Why the killer chose a knife as a weapon of choice. Why do we think the dog was spared? This person said, did the killer shower at the crime scene? Did the killer stop at 4 victims out of exhaustion, convenience, or lack of knowledge? Why did the killer choose the house over all others in the area? Why do we think they're thinking because of the questions he had and what he's asking here? It could be. Why do we think it's the entrance point to the crime scene? Somebody could be just fishing for information. Google Trends show the search history for the house by date. Lots of Thursday activity. What do we think? Thoughts on the body placement. 4 weeks in, no suspects. What is the motive? I feel like the white car isn't relevant. Why was the knife the weapon of choice? Again, it says the white car is a red herring. Is the killer still in Moscow, Idaho right now? 1 knife and 4 people. The killer took a big risk. The knife could have easily broken off or become ineffective after 1 or 2 murders. Are we sure there's only 1 knife involved? How did the killer leave the scene? Did he clean up at all? Not a new post for me, but still very relevant. How long was the killer in the house? If the door was left open or the heat wasn't on, are we sure of the timeline of the deaths? It was 28 degrees and overcast the night of the murders. The killer has sexual dysfunction. Thoughts. Day 32 and no motive, same as day 1. Fight me. Law enforcement is no closer to solving this than they were 30 days ago. Day 37, do we think law enforcement has a motive yet? Any known internet suspect has been eliminated at this point. Fight me. The date of killings was chosen on purpose. Thoughts? Okay. Let's see. Ethan didn't live at the crime scene. Very possible the killer didn't even know he was there. Thoughts? Regardless of what has been released, I believe this was a sexually motivated crime. Puts several floor plans in. The killer is not a student. Thoughts? Day 39, the killer is not in the victim's immediate circle. Can someone post actual evidence showing where the bodies were found? Okay, and then back to the beginning. So they're thinking that now they're saying that profile is not around. I think people have tried to reply to that profile. And that person's profile, which to me, was this, which I don't know what they're saying. They're like, oh, that's him, or something. There are 3 pictures posted, appear to be selected. An eagle is free, possible self-reflective picture of himself, and the middle finger, the only thing on the profile. This doesn't seem coincidental. Let's see.
I thought that same thing, that perhaps the killer didn't know Ethan was there. Because it just seemed to me that.
And someone said there was repeated posts stating that the white Elantra has no significance. Telling. What really got me, though, is the post which showed where he believed Ethan and Xana's bodies were found. I strongly believe that he screwed up there, sharing something that only the killer would know. To cover his track, he later posts a similar graphic of where he believes Maddie and Kaylee were found, a stark departure from what was shared publicly about Kaylee and Maddie's location. I believe the latter was to cover his tracks to make it appear as if he didn't really know where the bodies were found. It would be disturbing to learn that his graphic of Xana and Ethan were accurate when that info was never made public.
Well, that would be disturbing. I guess we'll have to see.
Right, and they're saying that, is it confirmed that this is his account? Someone said no, pure speculation. I doubt we'll ever know. Let's see. Well, I knew his account was the perp. I told someone a while back I thought this account was him. His posts were very matter of fact, but gave off the impression that he was in some way asking questions, but he already knew the answers. For him, he was somewhat taunting and laughing at our theories and answers to his questions. I also knew because occasionally he would reply to something, but very rarely did he engage after he asked a question. If you look at his Reddit post about him conducting an experiment, the questions there and in these groups have the same feel. We were part of his experiment. So let me just say something here, Papa Roger. I still see an account for him. It says it's a new Facebook account. I don't know if they just made this one. No, it's not. It's just, there's December 9th is the picture of the eagle. So his account is still there. So I don't know why someone said it wasn't.
I mean, anything's possible, right?
Yeah, I just don't know why they said that.
Me neither.
Very weird. Okay. All right, let me go back to where I was. Okay, so let's see what we got. Brian Enton went to the house tonight, said that they told him, get off my property. He said that there was duct tape on the front door of the house, which again is in a gated community. And here's, oops, go over there, get over there. Right there. Looks like a screen is out there. Okay, let's see what else we have. So the trip that he made was 2,532 miles between Moscow and Albertsville, but he was about 9 miles in Pullum. He's a registered libertarian, although he does not appear to have many social media profiles. I believe he got rid of them. That's what I think. He was doing damage control. Now, the aunt by marriage said that he's very OCD about his eating habits, and he forced his family to buy new pots that had never been used to cook meat. He was above and beyond being vegan. His aunt and uncle had to buy the new pots and pans. He would not eat from anything that had ever cooked meat in them. He seemed very OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, said the aunt. Okay.
Well, they're not going to help him out in jail with that, so.
During a press conference on Friday, authorities confirmed that a white Hyundai Elantra was discovered in the search. Law enforcement sources told CNN that his DNA was discovered at the scene of the crime, with officers managing to track down who owned the car seen in the area of the murders. He has no prior arrests, according to public records, so it's unclear how they got a hold of his DNA. Well, they got a hold of his DNA. They just did through the genealogy stuff. And matched it against stuff that was left at the crime scene. They ran that through the genealogy sites. Let's see. Authorities then discovered that he had left the area and traveled to Pennsylvania, where an FBI surveillance team had been tracking him. He's 6 feet tall, 185 pounds. He was kept under surveillance with the FBI watching him for 4 days while investigators from Moscow and Idaho State Police worked to get an arrest warrant. Authorities are still appealing to anyone, and they're saying, please get this information out. Please get his name out there. This is what was said at the press conference today. Any information, no matter how small or insignificant, they want it about this man, said James Fry. Details of the murders and the motive for them are yet to be released, and law enforcement is saying a sealed arrest affidavit will be released once he's extradited back to Idaho. He's currently in custody at the Monroe County Jail in Pennsylvania until the hearing on January 3rd. There's no set time for how long his extradition from Pennsylvania to Idaho might take. If he doesn't contest it, it will happen relatively quickly. Here's a picture of his apartments where they were looking through stuff.
I was really hoping he kept the murder weapon and it would be found in his apartment. It would be way too easy, but I was really hoping so.
That he what? I'm sorry, that he what about?
I was really hoping that he kept the murder weapon. It would be found in his apartment, which would be way too easy. Hoping
yeah.
so.
Okay, it is understood that he was a PhD college student at Washington State University within the Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology, with the university removing his profile from their website. According to the now deleted website, Kohberger attended the college in Pullman, a 15-minute drive from where the students were killed. He graduated from DeSales University in Pennsylvania, Allentown, in May of 2022 with a Master's of Arts in Criminal Justice. Let's see. Nick McLaughlin, who said he was friends allegedly with Kohberger at school, said that he was stunned to see his old acquaintance arrested. He said Kohberger was down to earth when he graduated junior year, but at the start of senior year, well, he didn't graduate junior year, when he ended the junior year. When he saw him at the start of senior year, he said Kohberger returned thinner than a rail, and he had turned aggressive and taken up boxing. Recalling how their friendship soured, McLaughlin added, he always wanted to fight somebody. He was bullying people. We started cutting him off from our friend group because he was 100% a different person. Kohberger said he had no idea what prompted the sudden change. Little is known about Kohberger's family. His father, Michael, I believe, is an HVAC guy, has his own business. In fact, Kohberger, Bryan is said to have started in a vocational program for HVAC, stopped that. Could be that his father wanted him to take over the business and he decided it wasn't for him and he was going to go into criminal justice. Then there's the mother, Mary Ann, and I believe she's 62, and he's got two older sisters. They're in their 30s, and they seem both to be in the health field. And one wrote a poem about Uvalde that the mother wrote a letter in to Pocono's paper about it, and I did read that in the last two videos that we had, and along with the sister's poem. Okay. In 2010, it looks like his father, I don't know what they did there. They had some kind of, that's not even relevant. I'm not even going to go over that. So we went over the Uvalde thing. There was a graduation video that was posted online. It's very short. He just goes up and gets his diploma. Someone said, a very strange kid. I worked with him for a bit at a pizza shop. Nice kid, but he's just out there. But again, we don't know these people are who they say they are, okay? They could be coming forward for their 5 minutes. Another person, Lawrence Rosenberg, said he attended classes at Career and Technical Institute with Kohberger, but that he dropped out in 2014 without completing the course. That was the HVAC thing. Might not have liked it. Might not. He always looked bugged out, like on drugs, and nobody in the class really ever talked to him, and that's why he only went for 2 years and left without taking the final exam, he said. He only went for 2 years? Okay. That doesn't even make sense. DeSales University, where Kohberger obtained his undergraduate degree and where he commissioned a survey of ex-cons about how they committed their crimes, released a statement on Friday admonishing the violence of the murders. Kohberger's received a bachelor's degree from that university in 2020 and completed graduate studies in June of 2022. The University of Washington State, where he was studying recently, has yet to issue a statement. Authorities were left baffled by the brutal killings and have repeatedly appealed to the public for help with the case. Let's see. Authorities were cleaning the property, but previously stated that they do not know how long it will take to clean the property, but that was halted through a court order today, as we said. Let's see. All right. Go back to the chat. Where was I? Chat, here we are. Okay. Hi, Kehlani. Hi, Angelique. Hi, Norma. I felt a sense of desperation coming from the detective during the press conference. Do you think there's a possibility he is a serial killer? Well, there's always that possibility right now, right? I mean, it's when you think of someone just going in and murdering 4 people, it's just crazy, right? But what would be, his motive to do this? And I don't know what happened to our panel. Everything went black there. So let me see if did I close the Zoom? No.
I'm right here.
Okay, no, but yeah, there's just a black screen. I don't know why.
111, make a wish.
Okay, let me see if I'll just see if I can get the Zoom back up. There we go. Okay, so Al needs the number. Anybody else that wants to call in, please email me and then let me know you've emailed me so I can get you the number. He's not crazy, Hash said. Hi, Rubbity Bob. He does sound like he's actually a smart mofo. Take what rumors about him with a grain of salt. Yeah, always. Hi, Liz. Yet all these lazy thinkers are still labeling him as an incel. Bryan K. was a semi-local to Moscow, in your humble opinion. Mickey says, I think the Idaho slayings were a separate mission. He only lived in Idaho for a few months. I think he had already killed some amount of people in the northeast wilderness area. I don't know. Hi, John Wasaki. Hi, Julianne Gonzalez. Okay. Kevin Leonard. All right, let me get this to Elle before she gets all upset. Anybody else that wants to call in, just send. But please, especially if we have a lot of people on panel, just, take your time. Don't go crazy. And just try not to overtalk anyone, because that's when I get some emails and they're like, I can't understand anything anyone's saying. Everybody's overtalking each other. Okay. What is this? Okay, Nikki, you sent me something. I'm going to give you a link too, because I don't know if you want to come up or not. If you do, they send you the link. Oh yes, there's a Gabby Petito update too, which is crazy. That you remember that letter that said burn after reading, and apparently that said something about a shovel that the mother would get to Bryan to bury Gabby. And it was tried to be explained away by that we don't know the context and we don't know anything about it. But they, the way they explained it, it was even worse, because they were saying, hold on a second. They were saying it was even worse because it was before they even left or something. I'm thinking, was it when he came back to empty the storage sheds and then go out? But anyway, is there a joking around, I'll get you a shovel so you can bury her? I don't know. I mean, so they're trying to get that. There's a motion. Hi, Tracy. Tracy, you have something on. I'm just going to mute you because you have YouTube on or something. You have to shut it off because it's making a horrible echo. Okay. Let me see here. I did say there's a short graduation video of him.
Is it quiet?
Yeah. Did you figure it out, Tracy?
Yeah, thank you. Good work, Carolyn. Doing a good job.
Oh, good to hear from you. A long time.
Yeah, well, it's been hard to get on for me.
Yeah, you changed
I
your
don't know
hair
why I
color.
have so many problems, but it's Microsoft and iPad and all that, but
Oh, good to hear from you. So
I did it. Thank you.
have you been
I had
following
a hard time
this?
getting through.
Have you been following this, Tracy?
Yes, I've been following with you, just lurking.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised?
Well, my profile was right, but I don't know. There was like two camps. There's either, a serial type killer or somebody they knew that, something bad happened, kind of which camp. I really didn't fall in either camp.
Right.
The one case, I will tell you about, he has so much to lose in this case. You rarely see someone who graduates from their profession and have struggled all through college. I look back at my time in college and I think that was when my life started.
Right.
All that struggle,
Mm-hmm.
living on cheeseburgers and small places to live, and you finally get, able to live.
Well, he hadn't finished. He was going for his PhD now.
Right. The only case I could think of was the Craigslist killer.
But did he work? I wonder if he had a job. Did we hear that he was a teaching assistant. Did he have any other type of a job?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's amazing that somebody would put themselves through all that and right at graduation, decide, who knows what's in his background? Who knows what he's done? Does anybody talk about that girl in the area that called the police about someone in her car? That was weird.
Oh, you mean the sorority
She had
girl?
all her stuff put in a bag out in the road, and there was a boot print in it. I don't know if you all talked about that or
No,
not.
I know.
That was a weird thing. And she found her underwear in the cup holder.
Yeah, yeah.
And the police came. It was right in the area. She's a college girl. It was weird.
Did you guys say they found a connection between him and the girl? Between him and Kaylee?
They said that her father, I guess, is starting to see where there may be a connection, but didn't elaborate at this time.
Does anyone feel like he was doing like an experiment?
Well, an experiment that's going to destroy his life.
Well, the way he put the ad and everything like that.
Maybe he was trying to figure out people how to commit the perfect crime, but I don't think it was an experiment. I think he wanted to do this, and maybe he used that information to see let me learn from their mistakes, because these people got convicted, they made mistakes. Then I can see where they messed up, and I can come up with a better plan.
You don't think he was trying to find someone to be his second man?
He could have used it as a place to connect up with people. Yeah, he could have used it like that too. We don't know. Mm-hmm. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, but weren't all the entrants anonymous?
But how do we know he didn't connect up with someone because his email was there?
Oh, yeah.
So how do we know who contacted him?
Yeah, I suppose he could have replied to them. Yeah.
So I don't know. Could have gotten him in touch with a few unsavory characters,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Chris Rhea is not here right now. Not on the panel though, Sherry. Let's see. Thank you for being a member, Sergeant Rambler, for 29 months, Linda. Let's see. So I just, I don't know. It's kind of...
Bet you're tired, Carolyn. You've been up all day, huh?
Yeah, a little tired. I'm just going to take some for a headache, but So the gated community, I don't even know, how did they even let Bryan Enton in there,
Which gated community?
where the parents live?
No, because he's Bryan Enton, maybe.
I don't know, but well, you would think, they said it was very hard to get in, even when you're visiting someone. You would think that they wouldn't want that there for their residents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking maybe, he was recognized and they're like, oh, we'll let him in. But I don't know.
Whose parents' gated communities did he get into?
Bryan's. And then
Bryan got into his parents' gated community?
No, Bryan Enton got into Bryan Kohberger's parents' gated community in the Poconos.
Who's the first Bryan?
He's a reporter, Bryan Enton.
How did he get in?
We don't know. That's what we were asking. That's what I was asking.
Probably money.
Anyway, they said when he knocked on the door, get off our property right now. Get off our property, or we're calling somebody. So, yeah, they weren't receptive to answering anything. So,
Well, that was intrusive.
he did walk up, and I don't know what he expected that they were going to say. They're going to come out and do an interview or something. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure they're quite upset.
Oh yeah. And the victims were saying, do you hear what I hear? I can't hear you, Kevin. Cannot hear you. Chris Ree's in the chat. Sherry. Let's see. For some reason, Hash says, in my opinion, Bryan may have had the means, the motive, and the opportunity, but I want to hear the other side of the story. I don't sense evil in him, Hash said. Really? You don't? Okay.
What does that mean?
He'd like to hear his side of the story. What happened, because he doesn't sense evil in him.
Really?
Rochelle does. He's got very dark, like dead eyes.
You can't. These people all look different, but they all, You never know what one of them's going to look like.
Right. No, didn't. Just somebody out of the blue. Just really want to wonder what the connection is. Maybe it is that Mad Greek restaurant. Maybe. What did he?
But he was weird about what kind of pots he ate from.
Yeah, but
So
that
do you
was.
think-
But they had
When I-
vegan food, so I don't know. You've never been around a lot of killers. Well, you don't know that, right? You don't know. Every time you go out, you have the potential to be around a lot of killers that you just might not know.
Right.
You say he doesn't fit the mold. How can you know that already, that he doesn't fit the mold, though?
Wow.
If you don't know him, except what is gleaned in these little tidbits that we're getting, how could you really know him? That's just innocent until proven
Does anybody
guilty.
think he looks big?
They said
and
Lee
stuffy?
Harvey Oswald killed JFK, but he didn't.
How does everybody think this guy looks in stature, as opposed to Ethan?
I don't know.
6'180" is confirmed, I guess. This is this guy,
185,
Bryan.
185, I thought, right?
6 foot. And what was
6 foot-
Ethan?
185. Ethan is what? Is he 6'1", Ethan? I think Ethan is 6'1". I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if
185, sorry.
I'm not sure if Ethan's.
They're both
weight-
the same?
No, I think
They were both
this
the
guy
same?
is 6 foot, and I think Ethan is 6'1". I'm not sure of Ethan's weight.
But he was in kickboxing, and that's very
Who was in he was in boxing.
Boxing.
Yeah, and Ethan didn't have a knife.
He is a suspect.
Mhm.
He's innocent. So there's the law. Hi, Dana Carter. Hi, Ashley. Hash says he was like this in high school, maybe. Hash says he was like this in high school, maybe.
How do you think he knew the house? Do you think he was at a party at the house?
I mean, I don't know. How would he'd have to meet them somewhere. He just wouldn't be at Pullman, in a PhD program and be ending up with kids, who are what, juniors, sophomores in college and undergrad. What's going on with that? It's kind of
know.
weird.
Maybe he was going to start being a serial killer because of his PhD, what his writings were with a PhD. He's trying to say what it was like to commit when you were committing a crime and all that crazy crap.
So I think he met them somewhere. Maybe he met him at that Mad Greek restaurant. Maybe he met him at the corner club. Maybe he started frequenting that town in the places, maybe, who knows? He could have started hanging out around there and met some people. And then made his way up to find out where they lived and stuff. But when he met them in places, I don't know. Corner club, yeah. It's very, he could have gone to the corner club, no problem, and started to meet people. Does that video show him on there? We don't know. We're only seeing a small part of it, right? We've only seen the stills of it, so we don't know, but maybe he wasn't there. Maybe he was sitting in the house waiting. We don't know.
Right.
And we also don't know what, if his neighbors noticed anything about what time he got back or didn't get back or anything like that, or if there's any stuff from his phone that they've got which shows where he was and when. When you're in farm country college, there are so many places to meet women, right? Not in church. Wonder if face recognized himself over the places he's seen. Jeff, what about all the cameras? What kind of cameras could have caught him coming and going? But without them knowing where it was, it's probably all recorded over, right? I don't know if anybody would thought that somebody was coming from Washington or those apartments. And being that so much time has gone by, it's over 30 days. Even if somebody had 30 days on there, it's likely everything there has been written over.
Just wanted to mention to you, I spent my first 5 years at Coeur d'Alene. I have a lot of memory of it, but, a little bit.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Military.
Wow.
My father, of course.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Let's see.
I know that area from family. My brother-in-law.
Smashing a
Sister.
camera and just destroying it. Are you sure that's real? Like, why would he be doing that? Where did they get that video from? That sounds weird because he deleted all of his social media. It's gone. There's a lot of fake accounts, so please be careful. There's a lot of fake accounts. Whoever did this, it looks like Bryan did. He's a genius planning a crime, but a moron driving his own car across the country when everyone is looking for it. Exactly, Ash. You're not sure? It's probably not real then. I really doubt there, TikTok is dangerous. I'm serious. There's so much misinformation on TikTok, it's not even funny.
I've never been on that.
Well, you're not missing anything. Hi, Christina Freud. You say he has strength for sure, right?
Yeah.
You've seen it. I'm not sure who shared it. Yeah, well, you try to verify it because sounds weird. Sounds. Well,
And they mentioned the strength thing, but Jodi Arias had plenty of strength.
She did.
And she caught her person, Travis, in a vulnerable naked, in a shower. That's the most
Right.
vulnerable you could be, besides sleeping.
Right, and when she was dragging him up
And
down the
drug him
hallway.
and shot him. And
Yeah.
I mean, she drugged dead weight and threw him in the shower
Mm-hmm.
after she stabbed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just to talk about the scream, I think if you're asleep, you may not scream. You don't see it coming.
Yeah.
I think instinctually you grab the knife.
Right,
Sounds
and it looks
crazy,
like he gave a lot
but
of
I
thought.
think you do. Travis did. Lots of people that are stabbed grab the knife.
When did
Which
he
would
go home, though, Jeff? Do we know? We don't even know when he went home. If he went home at Thanksgiving and didn't come back, if he went home at Thanksgiving, came back, then went home around Christmas time, when did he go home and go with his Elantra? Who knows? I don't know. We don't know that. But because of the questions he asked, it would look like if he planned this, and he is charged with first degree, so they believe he planned this, that he would have given it a lot of thought. He thought about things and the questions he asked about cleaning up. So he could have had Kevlar gloves, and he could have had some type of coveralls and foot covers and a tarp to put everything in. And he could have brought stuff to clean up, like those big wipes that people use in the hospital.
Brought like a murder kit.
Yeah, is
What
there
the-
such a thing, a murder kit? Okay.
I mean, Jodi Arias had kind of like a murder kit, a murder kit.
He would have access to an isolation suit if there was a chemistry lab or booties or whatever yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and it looks like he
university.
did really plan it out by the questions he asked. So he was in Pullman 3 weeks with the car. Where did you find that, Christine? Where did you find that? Did he go home at Thanksgiving time after the murders? Did he come back and then go home around Christmas time? Tyvek suit, head to toe, said, a Dexter suit. Yeah, very possible. He was covered head to toe, Kevlar gloves, the whole deal.
We don't know if he knows the house either.
You say Fox News? I have to go get an ibuprofen for my head. I'll be just for 1 second. You keep talking. It's okay. Jeff, good point. Maybe. I wonder if he drove straight to his parents after the murders. Wouldn't it be acting kind of weird and strange after killing? I just think going home to your parents' house with that same card, everybody's looking for it, and your parents knowing you were minutes from that house, that they wouldn't even say, wow, that's awkward that you have the same car that they're looking for and you live so close to there. It would just be like, wow, even if, they didn't suspect him at all. It would just be like, bummer of a birthmark, Hal. Like, wow, that's a poor choice of car, isn't it? It would be something you would remark about.
A Craigslist killer was extremely smart and made some pretty stupid mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was ready to start a new life also. Fortunate he killed himself before his trial. Hopefully that won't happen here.
Yeah. see something.
It'll be interesting to find out if there's any acquaintances or anything to tie him to purchasing that knife or having that knife, previously somebody who's seen him with that knife.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That'll be neat to
Could you mute for
see
a
if
second?
anything comes out with that.
I think he got rid of the knife.
So.
Oh, sure he did.
Let's see.
Sure he did.
What did you send me?
Of course, that's not to say it might not show up somewhere.
And how
Yeah,
come they're
yeah.
saying he had a 2015 Hyundai, right? So it was 2 years over what they were looking for, right? So maybe he was using that, like, oh, bummer, I've got a 2015. Imagine if I had a 2011 or 2013, I don't know. Okay. Just take these. Okay, everybody's so quiet. Can't read the chat. Let's see. All right. They talk over each other. Everybody's so tired. It
Very
sounds a
quiet.
bit like an.
I'm falling again.
To what?
Falling.
I got a no seatbelt ticket in Moscow. Yeah, I saw that. Right. You say the dog knew him, Hash. I don't know. You think the dog loved everyone, Ashley says. Could be.
Well, you probably mentioned this, but I think that breed doesn't bark a lot.
Oh yeah, why did he save the dog?
Well, he was a vegan, right?
Oh yeah.
But then he's murdering people.
That doesn't make any
No,
sense.
it doesn't make sense, right? But
It
some
really
people,
doesn't.
some people have a soft spot for animals, and not for humans.
Correct.
None of this makes any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Sense out of senseless.
right.
We'll not surely know a lot more after the probable cause.
Yeah, and that could take
Do you think he'll waive
how long the extradition takes.
extradition, or do you think he resigns the?
I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, his lawyer is probably going to advise him what to do, and So
I don't know at that point what delaying a few days would do, but
Well, I guess he's very intelligent. Diabolical is more like it. Diabolical.
IQ high, EQ maybe not. Might be emotionally immature.
Angelique says, mine too, Ashley. My dog jumps on me whenever I hug my wife, Jeff says. Maybe his parents knew. But, that dog was probably used to so many people.
I think so too, Carolyn. I think, I wasn't too weirded out about the dog, but did anyone have an idea where the dog was? Because I sleep with my dog.
It was in a spare room. One of the spare bedrooms. With the
Oh,
door
okay.
closed, I think.
Okay.
Well, we don't know for sure, but
No?
Makes sense though, because I mean, the dog would have had blood somewhere on
we
its
know the dog
paws.
was
If
not
it
in the
even-
crime scene, and they didn't go through the crime scene. That's what they've
Right.
told us.
That's why I think it was locked up in a room.
Yeah, because if
Otherwise,
even any kind of fresh blood, if it would have ran into the room, it would have gotten blood on its paws.
Now, Hash says, I think, in his opinion, he said, that Brian K. is much more normal. Hold on, I've got to put my glasses, and functional than most people out there.
I think so too. I think this person would be hard to know, although I don't know. I mean,
I don't think
True.
so.
I don't
Truly.
know, I don't know where they went that night. They returned
It's a
home
guess
at the
on my
house
part.
at 1 o'clock, the others, Norma.
Everyone was like, he's a little weird, he's a little off. People were not surprised. Some people were not surprised. His own family wasn't surprised.
Jeff says, I bet if Jack D had answered his phone and gone over there, he'd be dead today as well.
So,
agree.
poor Jack D. I threw him under the bus so
Yeah.
bad.
that's probably accurate. I think he would have been a victim too, yeah.
You never heard where the survivors were early that night? Yeah, I don't think they've told us, just that they were out and they returned home about 1.
Yeah.
What about Kohberger asking if anyone else was arrested? Yes, and that could be just a mind game with them.
Yeah.
Like you haven't figured this out,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it could totally be a mind game.
That's what I'm leaning towards. Because I really believe he did this by himself.
I'm
However,
wondering
I
if he
mean,
was
Because,
shot.
28 years old, waking up one day, I don't think he woke up one day. I think he definitely put a lot of thought into this, but still, that's an older age. It's not 18-year-old, it's older, starting your life. And I don't know, he's got to have something. I know he hasn't been caught at anything, but
well, I think he's got some, psychopathy going on there, and
for sure,
he's
that is
obsessed.
sociopath.
Like maybe it was thrill kill, maybe it was he was angry at a certain kind of people that he felt didn't accept him, or women of a certain caliber, like sorority girls or something he felt didn't give him a second look, or thought he was creepy, or all kinds of stuff.
So
I agree. A lot of psychopathy that could be talked about now.
Barbara says he was fascinated with the kill. I don't think he assaulted any of them or stole anything. The guy is so sick.
Yeah, I do think maybe it's something like a thrill kill. I'm leaning towards that.
Oh, and people were saying why the burglary charge. The chief of police explained that was because he entered the house. It wasn't because he stole something.
Yeah.
He could also be maybe over obsessed with crime, or
Yeah.
I heard somebody mention something about going for justice or something that which leads you to more think of a cop or something like that. But maybe he was over obsessed with crime.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was, and you know, I was saying earlier in Zoom that it makes me think of Ted Bundy and Ed Kemper because they were both really into similar like pursuits, and both of them tried to assist authorities. Um,
But they had a lot, like Ted Bundy had a lot in his past. He started out with pornography all through his adolescence.
oh yes,
He
I
was
was.
over obsessed with that. And so by the time he was that age, he was well into, his crimes.
I just meant the criminology sort of element. They were both interested in that. They both tried. He did try to assist the police, but I mean, I think eventually might have gone that way. But
Well, we don't know. What if he was calling in various tips? We don't know.
But you're right, we don't know.
We don't
We
know.
don't know what he's been doing.
of that type of thinking, that type of mind, where they were very much into criminology. They were like thinking, trying to help the police. Ed Kemper was Halperton was, really inserting himself into the investigations. He was super friendly with the police, and early on, Ted Bundy similarly. Yeah.
No, I think I think the police put those stools down like that, from what I heard. Ted Bundy was very charming, and I think this guy is obsessed with being a killer. Do you think this guy is obsessed with being a killer?
Ed Kemper was also very charming. When I first became
With being a killer.
when he first came across my notice, I started watching like a documentary. I didn't even know who he was at first, and he was just sitting there talking, and he actually was quite personable, quite charming. And I was like, well, this guy's kind of, I kind of like this guy. And then a few minutes later, it's an investigator who starts interviewing him, and I realized who he is and what he did, and I'm just aghast that for a moment, I'm like, oh, I kind of liked that guy for a minute. He seemed like a nice guy, and intelligent, well-spoken.
Where on a video?
Ed Kemper, yeah.
Oh, I
And
thought you were saying like
we
you
talked
were,
about
you were
very-
meeting him, and I'm like, what are you
No,
talking
no,
about?
no.
Ed Kemper, oh my gosh, he liked it.
Isn't that the
Cut
one?
off heads
Yeah,
and
with his
hands
mother.
to-
Yeah.
But he was also
Yeah, he dismembered people.
came to my
Oh no, never thought he was charming.
Well, if you'd seen this interview, you'd understand what I meant. You didn't know who he was at that.
He was a very personable guy. Like you could relate
Yeah.
to him, just like your next door neighbor. Like, hey Joe, how
Yeah.
are you? Oh, I'm great. How
A
are
little
you?
better.
That's Ed Kemper, like a regular anybody. You would walk past.
Police profile or whatever that was talking about him, who still goes to visit him to get his take on, killers and things like that. And,
And it was the basis for the second season of
And-
Mindhunter.
and,
Yeah.
and the guy said,
It's also in The Killer Across the Table.
the guy said that the guy said, if you didn't, know what he was, what he did, he said, he's very personable, very charming, sometimes, you just find yourself kind of liking the guy and then remembering, what he did. So I didn't feel so bad about liking him for a few minutes. And then before I realized who he was and what he did, because he does have, a certain charming way of speaking to who he's speaking to. And,
Yeah, it's fascinating that people are able to maintain their social, conversation, anything, just their social being, and still commit those kind of crimes. It's like a switch, almost.
yeah, he seemed like a gentle giant at first, and I just couldn't believe that he just had done such brutal things, innocent girls. It just, yeah. So, it made me wonder if, I'm not leaning towards this, but I wonder if this guy has a side to him that, where he can, fool people. didn't think he was a nice guy, you know?
Norma says, in her opinion, I think he probably killed before. I don't think he would have killed so many at one time if it was his first. Hash says, one of the characteristics about Brian K. that impresses me is that he seems very human, knows himself well, no demons inside, maybe awkward, somewhat unemotional, but human. But how do you know that, Hash?
Yeah, how do you know that?
Have you even heard him speak? What are you basing that on?
So I'll tell you what, when I saw his picture in the jail today, and I looked into that man's face, and I'm not usually someone who says things like this, but I mean, his eyes were dead. It was chilly.
Yeah, his eyes are dead
Still
to me.
went up
Yeah.
fine.
Void of anything, dead eyes.
Yeah. And yeah, it just was really striking to me. He just seems stone cold. Now that's just a perception, but it was a pretty strong one.
Okay, Hash said, because I have seen other info from the hacker community not made public. Okay, so
Oh.
from the hacker community, wait, hold on a second. How do you know it's legit? And what kind of information is it? Have you seen a video of him speaking, or are you just hearing people saying, and how did they know the guy? Are you saying that he was known in the hacker community? Or they're just talking about him?
And if you have information that hasn't been made public, maybe you'd share with us. Because we'd like to know more about him too.
Have I seen Bill Gates' eyes?
Yes, not at all like that.
Yeah. Did he live with any roommates? Christina said. One doctor said heroin use was to quell the killing instinct that comes up. What? What? Sorry, I have to say I know nothing that's not public. Okay.
That's true, or you just have to say that?
Is the hacker community after you, Hash? Are they following you around?
Well, it's no fair bringing it up if you're not going
Don't say his name.
No fair, absolutely no fair, dirty fool. You can't bring this stuff up and then not tell us anything.
He likely wanted to kill at a young age. I don't know that. I mean, how do we know that? We don't know that, Christine. I mean, the father's Facebook page had like nothing on it, but I think the father's taken it down. So you don't see much if they had pets or really what life was like.
Mm-hmm.
But they lived in a nice area. They lived on a lake, so I'm sure he was, around. He could have fished if he wanted to, boat, be outdoorsy. I don't know why I think there was golfing involved, something I saw, but I don't remember what it was. And Ash said, I mentioned Bill Gates because he's been charged with mass murder. I'm not going to go into, we don't discuss like politics or like conspiracies like that. We just don't do it, Hash. It's too divisive.
It's too controversial and it causes,
Yeah.
What
did his aunt say? There was a statement. His aunt said that he had OCD about being a vegan, she said. He would not eat from any bowls or pots that had meat in them or were cooking meat, so they had to get all new in order for him to eat anything, and that she found it very weird, basically. Have you watched the
Who
video
said that,
of
Carolyn?
him? Yes, yes.
Where did you get that?
Who said that? His
Me.
aunt.
Tracy, where'd you get
his
that?
aunt. His aunt said that.
Oh,
Fox,
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Have I watched the video of him walking across the stage? Yes, I did. Before getting a master's, I believe 2 years ago, I saw it. I did see it, Daisy Duke.
We saw that, yep.
No, the controversy over the V's. So we're not going to go there. I wonder if research study he was doing raised any red flags for law enforcement. I don't know, probably. I would say, I don't know, but I can't speak for them. Let's see. No, that's right. I'm just now popping in, so wasn't sure what has been gone over. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really much to that video, right? And we really haven't heard him speaking. He seems to have really done some big damage control, getting rid of social media and stuff. I'm wondering if that research was actually a school assignment. I don't know. He said that it was. I mean, that's easily checked out. They would be able to find that out very easily. Let me see something here. Well, they have they have it something called the DeSales, from DeSales University, the DeSales Fund, and it says the Psychology and Criminal Justice Digital Laboratory in Dueling Hall houses a computer lab, research equipment, and psychological testing rooms. The space is used for in-class lab activities, undergraduate research projects, and classroom instruction. We highly encourage students at DeSales to engage in independent research with faculty. The laboratory space includes a computer lab with a statistics and experiment building programs for psychology, 2 observation rooms with a 2-way mirror and recording equipment, a research room with 3 large Mac computers and state-of-the-art psychophysiology testing equipment, an interview room. Okay, so they have all that, and
I mean, that's what is postgraduate work, is all that. It's research in your field. So you're constantly making studies and all that stuff. So it makes sense, but it seems a little bit obsessed with how, someone would feel after they kill. And that questionnaire was very weird.
you know something? This video was made. Here, you guys take a look at it. I'm going to put it in the chat. There's a guy in this video about this new lab that looks similar to how he looked in high school. And it's in the first part, and he's sitting against a wall. I don't know if it's him or not. me see if there's a lot. I'm still watching the video. I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to put it in there and see if you see anything. Go take a look at it in another window. So you stay here and then you can. I just saw it for the first time, so I don't know. Let me see. Go back and look at the rest of this. See, there's that person again. They're in there again at 112, and it really, I don't know. Well, I think he wasn't there because he was at the community college until 2018. So it wouldn't fit with that unless they just I don't know. But it just looks weird because it kind of looks like that.
Do you mean the guy in the corner with the glasses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah,
it look a little bit like his yearbook?
Yeah. It looked like his when he was graduating.
Yeah. Looked weird.
Ugh, I don't know though.
I don't know either. I don't know, but it just was weird.
Wondering if he had a job. If he had a job, what did he do?
Well, there is something about a teaching assistant, but I don't know if there's something beyond that. So the equipment is going to expand their ideas and the research. A wider range. The brain is actually.
Did you see the mock interrogation room?
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh, that's where he went to school. Wow, this is crazy. Can you play this for everybody or no?
I put the link in the chat so everybody can go.
Okay. This is crazy. Mock lie detector? What the heck?
He knows, doesn't he? He knows the system now.
I hope you guys are all watching with us.
I don't know if it's verified. I heard that Bryan worked in high school security. Yeah, I heard that too. That was something too. That was a position that was eliminated in some kind of a board meeting or something. It said. Hey, Angelique, thank you for becoming a deputy rambler.
Thanks, Angelique. Wow.
Hi, Deirdre. Good to see you, Deirdre. That video frightens you, Julianne? Yeah.
That's the actual program he was in. That was the actual program at DeSales University. I can't believe what I just saw. That's crazy.
Well, he's prepared, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Very prepared.
This just gets weirder and weirder, I guess. Well, Carolyn, that was eye-opening that you found.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
was trying to think if there's anybody else that killed like that had an obsession. The only one I could think of was in the Canada killer. I can't remember his name, but he was obsessed because he made films. He was obsessed with how somebody would feel or react or scream or all
Right.
that stuff during a
See,
killing, and
these-
tried to kind of reenact that.
Right, and these were some of the questions he was asking in that study he was doing. What was the first move you made in order to accomplish your goal? Please detail any thoughts and feelings at this point. Before leaving, meaning the crime scene, is there anything else you did? Before making your move, how did you approach the victim or target? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling. Why did you choose that victim or target over others? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your home? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this point. After committing the crime, what were you thinking and feeling? After arriving, what steps did you take prior to locating the victim or target? Please detail your thoughts and feelings. Why did you choose that victim or target over others?
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of is that movie maker. He was obsessed with, how somebody would scream or struggle and that kind of thing.
And this is what he put for that research participation needed. Hello, my name is Bryan, and I am inviting you to participate in a research project that seeks to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision making when committing a crime. In particular, this study seeks to understand the story behind your most recent criminal offense, with an emphasis on your thoughts and feelings throughout your experience. Now, this is funny. In the event that your most recent offense was not one that led to a conviction, you may still participate. Additional surveys are included after the open-ended section as to best understand your unique traits. The study should take about 15 to 20 minutes to fully complete. Your identity and all answers provided are completely confidential, and the link to the survey is also an anonymous link. This research has been approved by the DeSales University IRB. Participants must be 18 years of age or older. If you opt to participate, you may terminate participation at any time and for any reason. If you have any questions about this research, you may contact the research team via email. And he put student investigator Bryan Kohberger, and he did have his email there.
When I read that questionnaire, I was thinking, who is he trying to? I wonder who his subjects were going to be. Somebody had already committed crimes.
Oh yeah, yes, because
a
he
serial
was
killer, right?
well, he was in a group of, what was the group? I'm trying to remember what the group name was. Let me see if it's here. It was ex-cons was the subreddit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
To me, it sounded like an ad to find a murderer to help them.
Could be.
Yeah, those research things are pretty weird, but this one is beyond.
Come on. There we go. Get to the live chat. Live chat. Okay. Can't get back to the live chat. What happened today? Okay, here we go. So criminal justice. Let's see. Investigate the crime scene house, okay. In a sleepy stone house in a quiet rural street just south of the campus, the social science students are about to walk into a murder scene or a terrorist threat or a national disaster. They actually have an investigate the crime scene house. And there's a video on that, the crime scene house on Taylor Drive. Says, in meticulously detailed simulations, students put their classroom knowledge to the ultimate test as they collect evidence, conduct criminal investigations, and interview suspects, all while learning to utilize the tools used by today's law enforcement professionals. Students have the chance to execute search warrants, collect forensic evidence like fingerprints, and practice crime scene photography. The crime scene house is used for criminal justice, homeland security, political science, and law and society majors to simulate emergencies, national disasters, crime scenes, and courtrooms. It features multiple rooms to create a variety of different scenarios, and there's a state-of-the-art classroom too, so professors can teach directly on site.
Right, it all makes sense. However, in this context, it's weird.
Yeah,
know?
well, he had a lot of
Yeah, I mean, I get
experience
that.
with
That criminal justice is all about that. That doesn't, but in this context, it's
and
spooky.
do you know what? They're all wearing those Tyvek suits.
There you go. I bet he did. Bet he wasn't full blood.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Barb Olson said whoever in chat asked about the Canadian photographer, his name was Mark Twitchell. That must be another case.
There you go. Thank you.
Ah,
I'm good with remembering crimes, but sometimes I forget the names. Awesome. Very good.
I never even heard of him, ladies. So you gotta teach me.
Yeah, he was obsessed with recreating it in film.
Oh yeah.
So that's
The
the only
screen
one I can
killer.
think of trying to recreate crime.
That's
Never heard that.
mhm. The screen killer.
So
That was the
while
screen-
he may have never committed a murder, he had a lot of experience with all these simulations and all of this stuff, more than just someone that didn't have any of that. So he knew about the suits and like when we were talking about the suits and those booty, I was like, but who's like what kid? Like say it was one of these kids that did something in a crime of passion. They're not thinking about a Tyvek suit. You know, where
Absolutely.
this guy would be thinking about a Tyvek suit. He
And
would
this
be
guy
thinking about
has
all of that.
Fresh in his mind. Fresh. He probably just took an exam on it, you know?
Yeah. Interesting, yeah. Interesting.
I mean, is he gonna write his dissertation on his own case in prison or something? Like, this person, I don't know what the end game. I mean, what was he thinking? Like,
I know, good point.
you know what I mean? Just
Yeah, good point.
he just
You could
ruined
write a
it.
dissertation on murder.
And he's gonna have to write.
I think he planned on not getting caught.
Yeah.
Yep. I say he talks a lot in jail later.
I think we need to learn. We will over the coming days. I'm sure we will learn a lot more about this guy. You know.
When do we see like what his arrest was like when the SWAT arrived at his house to arrest him? what, do we see that?
No,
Like
well,
before the
the
trial,
arrest
after
affidavit,
trial, or-
yeah, the arrest affidavit from Pennsylvania we didn't have much information at all about that, just
Did
the
they have body cams?
officer.
No.
I'm sure they probably do,
Well, I'm
yeah.
sure they,
Yes, but we're not gonna see another arrest affidavit until he's extradited
I don't
to
think
Idaho.
anything until after he appears before a judge in Idaho.
I'm wondering what his demeanor was like. I can see him being prepared for it already and being calm, where maybe people in his house were all a wreck.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, I could see him being as calm as a cucumber, just
I
prepared.
think, you know, knowing what his background is,
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
Oh, I was certain he's not talking to them at all.
Oh, no, he's probably not saying a word.
He's a clam.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, right now, I mean, if he knows the system,
He's not
quiet,
talking to
don't say a
anybody.
word.
No, he's not gonna say anything.
Correct.
Oh,
Right.
I don't,
I agree. I don't think he says anything before the trial at all.
Do you think they stopped the cleanup because the defense attorney said stop?
I think maybe the defense
That's-
attorney said,
yeah.
wait, stop, I wanna go in there.
I agree. I think that would be a very likely reason, yeah.
That's what cued me in when the house was given up. I thought, what? They're giving up their crime scene? They must be really confident they got everything out of that house.
Well, I don't think he's getting any vegan food tonight in jail.
No, and I'm sure,
Oh,
any night.
good point.
sure he
Jail is
will.
not-
He'll have a peanut butter sandwich like everybody else.
Yeah.
On stale bread.
He's gonna get an education on jail now.
he probably won't do well in jail at all.
Yeah, well, Craig's killer didn't either. He killed himself, which I hope that's not like this case.
Well, they had him in a turtle suit, so hopefully he can't harm himself.
Yeah, that's usually the thing when they arrest you like that. It's, common for them to put you right into that isolation and suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I'm just trying to.
I've heard it's actually hellish, but that's what happens when you murder people.
So there was a trail, somebody said there was some blood outside of the home, evidently.
How do
That
they,
was a speculation, I think, wasn't
how
it?
do they know?
I don't know if that was speculation or not, so it was speculation, okay.
That's not been said by law enforcement that I've heard.
All right.
I know that Papa whatever was saying that.
But is that the same Facebook page that's still there?
Yeah.
Because somebody was
we have
saying
to-
the Facebook page was gone, but it's not gone.
Yeah, when you were reading off the statements that he made in the group, that was one of them.
Yeah, who said he said, did anybody else get arrested? Somebody said that.
He
Yeah,
did.
that's what,
He did. Brian Enton said that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what he said. That's the first thing he said when he was arrested. He said, did you arrest anyone else?
But then, of course, the police chief wouldn't confirm it. So-
John Wayne Gacy said that. But John Wayne Gacy did it all.
Well, I guess he's taking a page out of that book.
Maybe.
About
This is gonna be either he's gonna clam up or he's gonna talk a lot. It's gonna be one or the other.
Well, typically, investigations, they might have 3 or 4 suspects and, so maybe that's where his brain was. I don't know why he would say that.
Because he was so sure he would get away with it. That's why. He was so sure. He's a narcissist. I guarantee it. He was so sure that he did everything right and he wasn't going to get caught.
I
Yeah,
agree. You
I
could talk
believe-
about that for sure.
I think that maybe he came on to one of the girls and they rejected him. And maybe he had a crush on one of them. And that's what I feel like. And that was his connection. I don't know.
Let's say he didn't have a connection, he still, let's say he never met these, they just knew of the house. He could go behind the house and just stare like the police did for a minute and look up at that house with no blinds, no curtains, no nothing, and see what everybody was doing and where they were, minus the first floor.
But going back to, didn't one of the girls have more significant injuries than the other roommates? Or is that just something that was talked about? I don't remember. Didn't one of them have more stab wounds?
We've not
And I
been,
keep thinking,
yeah,
was that?
we've not
I
been
mean, I've
told.
heard that, but
We haven't heard that? I thought
don't
one of
know.
the dads, I thought the dad said
Kaylee got
that.
called, but his father said that that's what,
But we don't know that from,
yeah, we don't. it
I
hasn't
also thought
been
a
by the
dad said
police.
that, but my thought was, maybe that's the way of finding out. I feel like he was after one of the girls and he had a crush. But that's just my opinion. Talking it out.
Or he was gonna plan a murder wherever, and he targeted the house, which I was never a big one on that theory, targeting the house. Now, looking at it, it makes sense that you might target a party house with girls in it versus a girl in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he jogged at night, didn't he? And it wouldn't be so weird, like, doing that around a college campus, because a lot of people run at night and,
Oh, wow, he was a jogger?
yeah, there was a.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, yeah, out for a jog, go behind the house and stare.
Look and see whose doors are locked and whose are unlocked and.
Because I bet at any given night, you could stand behind that house and see the girls.
Yeah.
I should say guy too, because there's guys in the house, but he could, it's amazing to me that they had no curtains or nothing.
If he was staking out the back of the house, it would make sense why the two girls on the bottom floor were unharmed, because they probably used the front door on the front of the house. He didn't see them
I'll be
coming.
interested to know where he jogged, because there's that road, right? There's the house, there's woods, and then there's that road. And if he jogged along that road, he could go right through the woods and
Yeah.
see
And
that
he would have
house.
seen him coming and going through the unlocked door.
And the house kind of glows in the back.
It does, because of the light and the
Yeah.
front deck and the porch.
And you can see.
The two beams, or the four beams there, it's you could see everything, yeah?
Right, and what gave it away was the body cam on the police. I mean, them standing there, it was so spooky. It's like, oh my gosh, that's what they would see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got chills when I saw that body cam of the police stand here and look. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be the view. Also, to say that he doesn't know them at all would be a stretch too, because he probably would had to have known, maybe at least in passing or hearsay or something.
Looks like the mother wrote another letter to the editor. Let me see. Wow, this is a huge. Who's this? Which one? For the record. Trying to see which one she wrote. Their letters to the editor are so weird. Can't stay until I get to the end, and then had enough. Okay, so her letter must be this one. To protest a so-called Humpty Dumpty writer. Just that I found it irritating that he would refer to this person as being stupid because he or she has a difference of opinion. Okay, it's a political letter she wrote.
Can you imagine what his colleagues feel like? They'd be like, oh my word.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd be like, yeah, we studied crime, but we never thought we'd want to do a crime. I'm like you guys, he will not speak at all. Guaranteed. If he's this, well versed on,
Well, he's got an attorney already, a public defender.
yeah, and with an attorney, for sure he doesn't speak.
What was the address near Moscow? What address? His apartment address? Or which address? He probably bought 3 full Tyvek suits. Yes, from the back street he could stand there and watch them. Yeah, I saw something about the Bundy thing, yeah.
Think
Katie
of
says
all
he
the
sold
people
Kaylee a car.
that are going to come forward.
Okay,
that
wait
know-
a minute. How do you know, Katie, where do you see that he sold Kaylee a car? Could you give me a source for that? What's the source for that?
It's really nice to see what
I just watched some other news. Okay, news or YouTube video? If you watch news, could you give me the link to the news? Because I haven't seen that anywhere. Can you email me the link? You can't put a link in the chat, but can you email me a link to that news source? No, he didn't. That was, okay. That's all a lie, Katie. He has no social media profiles to follow them. Those were all fake ones that were made up. People made those fake profiles and then followed them, took screenshots, and threw that all around. It's not real, Katie. It's fake. It's fake.
Yes, every single one of his profiles are
He has
fake.
no social. He has no valid social
Every
media
single one.
profiles. They have all been created. It's people that just want to spread crap around. Yes, he studied criminology. That's correct. He studied criminology, but those are fake profiles. They made those up with his picture and everything else, Katie. They're fake.
They did. I checked it all out this morning for hours. They're all fake.
So can you tell me what the news source was, Katie? Where you heard that he sold Kaylee a car? Because I don't think that's real either. Where did you read that, Danielle Faith Love? Is it speculation on a Reddit thread or something, or a group, or did you have a real source for that? It's possible we did mention that when we started this, but we don't know that's factual. Katie, where'd you go? You heard it in a group, yeah, on TikTok. It's just speculation. Just like we said, you know, same thing when we came in here, but we don't know that. Where's Katie? Katie, where are you? I think Katie's gone. I wish this guy Bryan could have people of the caliber who are on this panel as jurors in his trial. Hash says. It's New Year's Eve in Sydney. I understand that, Katie, but you're here with us talking. Can you tell us, just tell me the news source? I hope you have a great one too. I take it to mean that there's really, it's speculation, right? About the car. That's what I thought. Have a good New Year's Eve, Katie. I wonder if he chose to graduate school in the Pacific Northwest because of the number of serial killers. Do you think he's a fan? I don't know.
For sure, it's not a passing interest. I mean, this is something you put a lot of study in.
I think it's going to be an interesting weekend to see what classmates come forward that have,
That's what I'm
that
thinking.
know him.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
wondering what his classmates think.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
what
I want to see.
I am
Yeah.
so interested in that. What are they thinking? Could you imagine going to school with him and thinking,
Oh my
"What?
God,
Are you kidding me?"
crazy.
You know,
He was
somebody
at the
next
top
to
of his
you in
class.
class for, because you get
He helped
really
me with all my
close
projects.
You know, you get close with people. I mean, like
You do.
family.
You do.
I did. I was like
He has.
family
There's
with
probably
people, study
former
groups.
roommates. Imagine
good
former
Lord.
roommates.
Can you
They
imagine?
know him.
They're like, what?
Yeah. I'm sure he roomed with different guys. I mean, there's a lot of people that'll come forward. And I think didn't the sheriff or was it the prosecutor that asked anybody to come forward
Yeah.
knowing anything about him?
Yes, he
please
said
come
get the
forward."
name out there. Share, share, share. We need to know as
And
much as we
that's-
can.
And that makes sense. Why? I mean, they do that a lot. They make the tip line go all the way to the prosecution, but
Yeah,
that makes sense. Share what you know.
yeah. It'll be very interesting.
I think they know. I think they know there's a background. Certainly, he's done a very good job of trying to get rid of anything
Yeah.
that can be looked at.
But having these people get, news stations might get interviews with some former classmates. It'll get you an idea more of who he is, who he really is, instead
Absolutely.
of speculation.
Agree.
You
An
know?
intelligent view also, because I mean, these people spent probably a lot of time with it.
Right, if you get real people, but there's gonna be a lot of people that say stuff just to
Oh,
I
sure.
agree.
have their
There
15
will
minutes.
be. But I'm talking people who actually maybe shared a room with him, actually, dormed with him, classes with him.
Study groups, classes.
Yeah, yeah.
Agree.
Not internet friends.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing here connecting him to a car that he sold. That's all stuff that's,
Is the Elantra his?
the Elantra, yeah.
Okay. I had in my head that it could possibly be a rental, but it's his, okay.
It's his. It's his.
Now, something that we've talked about before, I heard you guys talk about, he could have laid in wait for a little bit.
So Brian Enton said the celebration of life for Kaylee Goncalves and Maddie Mogen was incredibly uplifting. Family members and friends spoke, and before leaving, friends left notes about their favorite memories, and there was no mention of the arrest.
That's good to hear. I'm glad that went off well.
I'm just going through some of these. Okay. Got so quiet. Angelique, if it was an experienced defense attorney, I would volunteer to defend him. In spite of my bias. Yeah, Rochelle, what friend? Somebody on TikTok? Was it the same friend that said that she knew that he called into a podcast because she knew his voice, and yet nobody knows who that is, and her name is like something Bartz? Yeah, okay.
You're so funny,
Well,
Carol.
I'm serious. Her name, that's what her name is, and they're like really trying to explain it, going, no, this lady on TikTok called somebody Farts is his friend, and she knows his voice. Come on,
I know,
What?
right?
wake
I
up.
thought it was because of my age. I had no desire to be on, to have anything to do with TikTok. I hate TikTok.
It's crap. TikTok is like a cesspool.
And Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit. TikTok's worse. Yeah, Deidre, the city of Moscow deserves justice and closure. Yeah.
Are you reading what people are saying?
I was looking at Twitter
I like
and
it
some
when
of the
you do your
crazy,
voice.
yeah, some of the crazy stuff that was going on Twitter. Your impression is Brian K is just a typical 28-year-old guy outwardly. I don't know. You think he's a typical? He just gives me the impression he's very introverted, and I don't know. He's just awkward. He looks socially awkward, and I don't see anything about a girlfriend or something. He
Until
deleted all
we,
his social media.
right, until we see him, we don't know. I mean, he could be emotionally immature
I don't know.
and intelligent. And the Craigslist killer was a little bit that way. I keep going back to that. It's the only one I can think of. Does all that work in school and then does that.
Okay, what does this say? Let's see. Okay, so there was a neighbor here of his in the apartments in Washington. It says neighbors of the Washington State University grad student arrested in Pennsylvania Friday morning in connection with the murders of the 4 co-eds were shocked to learn the alleged killer who had evaded police was living among them in the typically quiet community. Bryan Kohberger was arrested thousands of miles from Idaho in Albertsville, PA, early Friday morning, but police have since said he was a graduate student at Washington State University and he had been living in Pullman. Justin Williams, a 34-year-old WSU employee who lives in an adjacent building, said that he had occasionally seen Kohberger in the neighborhood, typically while Kohberger was retrieving his mail. Neighbors said the complex is mostly inhabited by graduate or PhD students, among others. They described the area as quiet and nestled in the city, Pullman, which is typically so safe. I'd see him go check his mail, and that was it. Other than that, I've only seen him like twice the whole time. And I've lived here since July of 2021, said Justin Williams, who lived in an adjacent building. Crime scene tape surrounds an entrance to the Pullman apartment searched Friday morning. So this is that looks like now. Come on, come on, come on. Let's see. He said he saw nothing unusual from his now accused neighbor. Williams said he learned that Kohberger had been arrested just this morning from social media, and he spotted some of the law enforcement vehicles in the parking lot outside his home. Okay, come on. Come on, come on, come on.
No, also because he doesn't have really a residence to search. He may not have, a lot of these times they go to search and they find a lot, but he probably doesn't have a resident to search right now.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Upon hearing the news, he said he wondered how long has he effing been here? Has he been here the whole time that I have? And then another Washington State University employee, Randy Smith, 58, said he arrived at the housing complex on Northeast Valley Road about 7:30 a.m. to see multiple unmarked vehicles, later determined to be law enforcement, already in front of Kohberger's building. There was a black pickup and a silver pickup, he said, pointing to vehicles parked in the lot, and a couple of cops, and they were taking pictures and stuff, but didn't have any tape up. They established a perimeter shortly thereafter with crime scene tape, and law enforcement personnel from several agencies, including Washington State University Police and Moscow Police Department, executed a search warrant at Kohberger's second-story apartment building. Images from the scene show law enforcement personnel, including Lauder County Prosecutor Bill Thompson, ascending the stairs to the home and donning protective gear before entering. They remained for hours. Meanwhile, neighbors wondered what happened in the complex, where children's bikes could be seen parked near the front doors. Andrew Chua, a 28-year-old graduate student who also works at the university, said he heard commotion outside of his apartment building just steps from Kohberger's early Friday morning, but said he didn't notice anything at all unusual over the past several weeks. He did not recognize Kohberger's picture.
Well, that answered that. He does have something to search.
If I didn't know about this issue, it's a very quiet, very nice place to be, Chua went on to say. Now I'm like, maybe I should stay home. Spokesperson for Washington State University said Friday that Kohberger had completed his first semester as a PhD student in Washington State University criminal justice program earlier this month. This morning, the Washington State University Police Department assisted Idaho law enforcement officials in the execution of search warrants at Mr. Kohberger's apartment and office, which were both located on the WSU campus. Spokesperson said WSU police are working closely with local, state, and federal agencies as they continue their investigation. Kohberger's been charged with felony burglary for entering into the house, and then 4 counts of first-degree murder for the violent stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students, Ethan Chapin, 20, Kaylee Goncalves, 21, Zena Kernoodle, 20, and Madison Mogen, 21.
Oh, I didn't know that. Felony burglary.
Yeah, that's for breaking into the house.
Oh, okay, just that, right?
Yes.
You don't have to take anything?
No, right, that's what they said. Let's see. Sean Domgard, a 36-year-old PhD student at WSU, said the news of an arrest just steps from his home is hard to process. It's just so, like I said, a high contrast to what we're used to, said the father of 3 young kids who is originally from Utah. I feel like it's happening far away, even though it's literally in my backyard. He added it's scary, but good to have some closure. A lot of mixed emotions, I guess. Who'd we lose? Elle? I must have fallen asleep.
Very good. That was very informative.
Yeah, it was. Right. Wait till they are all headed back to school next week, Nori said. Wow.
Did they go back right away? Usually it's like
I think
late late June. I mean, January.
I think the 11th. I don't know why I'm thinking of the 11th. Let's see if there's any other reactions on real news sources. Uh-oh, we lost somebody else. Who is that? Nikki. They're dropping like flies, I tell you, like flies. Okay.
What's happening? Oh, my word.
I don't know. Okay, let's see what this says.
No, I was losing battery. But I'm hooked back up.
Let's see. Okay, so Kara Northington, the mother of victim Xana Kernodle, said Friday she was relieved an arrest was made in the killing of her daughter and 3 of her classmates at the University of Idaho. She said, "It's been a nightmare. This whole thing has been a nightmare, literally. But I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. A lot of grief was not knowing who this was, knowing that whoever was responsible for that is still out there." Northington added, "So yeah, this definitely takes a lot of the grief that we were experiencing off of our shoulders." Northington told NBC News that she didn't know Bryan Kohberger, the 28-year-old suspect arrested in Monroe County on Friday. Police in Moscow, Idaho have scheduled a news conference for 4, but that's already done now, to discuss the arrest.
God, they feel better.
Okay, so here's another thing about it. Suspect was a student at DeSales University. He liked to work alone. Boyce Jubilan, an associate professor and chair of the DeSales University psychology program, served as a research supervisor to Bryan Kohberger while Kohberger was enrolled as a psychology student at the Lehigh Valley campus in the late 2010s. Could it be the 2010s? Jubilan, let's see, recalled Kohberger had a great interest in forensic psychology and criminal profiling. And said the
Without a
undergrad.
doubt.
What? Yeah, you gathered that? And said the undergrad indicated he intended to pursue a doctorate in related fields. The professor said he lost track of Kohberger after the student left for a PhD program at Washington State University. Kohberger has a master's degree and a bachelor's degree from DeSales. The school's associate vice president, Carolyn Stegelman, said Kohberger's master's degree was in criminal justice. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims' families during this difficult time, Stegelman said. Jubilan said he was stunned Friday morning when a fellow professor mentioned the slayings his former student is now suspected of committing. It was a shock. I didn't really see anything regarding his personality that he was mean or nasty or anything, Jubilan said. He was just a little awkward with his peers. He liked to work alone.
I hate to keep repeating myself, but that's similar to what they said about Craigslist killer when he, all the fellow students talking about his crimes.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, he studied so much. Introvert. Of course, he had a really nice girlfriend. But in their tiny apartment, he hid the gun and other stuff.
Oh,
That they were looking for that knife.
Okay, here's another. The Pocono community reacts to the arrest. Let's see. The entire community has been following the investigation of a quadruple homicide at the University of Idaho. The story has now developed over 2,500 miles away from the crime scene in northeastern Pennsylvania. The suspect in the case, Bryan Kohberger, was arrested in the gated community of Indian Mountain Lake, located in Chestnut Hill Township, a place where many people Eyewitness News spoke with call home. Let's see. We spoke to several people from the area about the arrest and what they witnessed. People that live in and around the neighborhood where the arrest occurred did notice an increase in security early Friday morning and expressed their concerns. It's pretty amazing. This is right in your backyard and you don't know anything about it. To track someone all the way across the country like that. It's crazy, said Dennis Munger of Efford, Pennsylvania. Monroe County was also home to Kohberger at one point. An old running partner of the suspect was rattled by the news. I looked at the picture and I couldn't believe who it was. It was Bryan Kohberger. I would text him and be like, hey, you want to go for a run? We'd go for 6-7 mile runs at night. So when I saw who it was, I was just like in complete shock. It was so close to home. Let's see. Others from normally quiet community had similar reactions. Very surprised to hear something like that, especially living so close to what's going on here. As far as it is, to catch someone, halfway across the country is pretty amazing, stated Anthony Caligiuri of Effort. Some began seeing red flags when security was unusually active within the community. I mean, we see these security flashlights here and there, but sometimes we don't pay attention to it because we're just they're kind of doing their job. But then we woke up this morning and there were lots of action, explained Sean Passbrigg of Indian Mountain Lake. For those within the wooded area, it was hard to wrap their heads around knowing they might have been neighbors with the person accused of committing such a terrible crime. Still kind of like shaking knowing about it. It's unreal to think somebody could actually do that to somebody. It's absolutely mind-boggling. My adrenaline is still kind of running after finding the information out. Although it's a still developing story, the fact that Eyewitness News spoke with the people that Eyewitness News spoke with are relieved that someone's in custody and they're one step closer to justice for the families.
Well, could you imagine? Oh my word, Pennsylvania be like Idaho killings in Pennsylvania? I mean, that'd be the first thought I would have. In the Poconos?
Right, I know.
That's what I thought. I was like, Poconos.
It's crazy.
Like 5-6 hours away from me, I guess. I went to camp there. Very rich area. Beautiful though.
It is, yeah. Let's see. Trying to see if there's anything else that. Here's another neighbor. Neffy Duff lives in the same apartment complex as the suspect in Pullman, Washington. Let's see what he says. He has lived in the Steptoe Village apartments on the Washington State University campus since late 2019. He said that he lives in the unit right next to Kohberger and learned of his arrest at work on Friday. I don't recall ever seeing him around, Duff said. I mean, I thought I may have seen that white Elantra, but there are probably a lot of white Elantras, so I didn't think it was the specific Elantra. The apartment complex Duff and Kohberger live in is for WSU graduates and families. As a husband and father, Duff said seeing incidents like the one in Moscow makes him feel unsafe. I thought I was moving to a safe, small community, but that hasn't been the case recently. He said, I just think if these things are happening right under my nose, how do I protect my family?
This is in Washington?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's, oops. What we got there, so. Yeah, no, I did talk about the guy that jogs with him. I did. Thanks, Angelique.
Was that in Washington or Poconos?
The one that jogs with him was in, I think it wasn't it Washington?
Sorry.
No, I'll figure it out. Hold on.
Actually, I come to think of it, if you were a runner, I guess you wouldn't be running in Idaho if you're running in Washington. But if you were creeping around behind
Okay.
some sorority house, I'd be well
All
and
right,
jogging.
here's another neighbor. This is in Pennsylvania. A neighbor that did not want to be identified told Action News that Hyundai Elantra was towed from the Kohberger home on Friday morning. The tow truck came. They towed the car. We were surprised because we didn't know what was going on, she said. When shown a picture of an Elantra, she said, "Yes, that's the car. We've seen the owner drive that car so many times." The neighbor said she didn't even know Kohberger, but she had seen him in and out of the house in recent weeks. She said his parents are a very sweet couple. Let's see. There's anything else here?
Wait, I'm confused. Is that in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Um,
Because he takes the car from Idaho or Washington State to. Do we know that for sure?
well, yeah, he definitely took it back. Yeah.
So he drives across the
Yeah,
country.
he drove across the country. Yes, he did. Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
A lot of miles put on that car, but hey,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's hear the neighbor that's extremely shocked. That was neighbor.
when you think about it, that's a heck of a drive.
Oh yeah.
I
Yep.
remember when we transferred to North Carolina, we went from Washington State to North Carolina, and I was in an airplane, but we kept stopping and going, and it took forever.
Okay, here's the family of Ethan Chapin, who was one of the 4 University of Idaho students stabbed to death in November, is expressing relief following the news that a man connected to the crimes is in custody. Chapin, 20, grew up in Conway, a town in Skagit County. Chapin's mother said Friday in a Facebook post, "We are relieved. This chapter is over because it provides a form of closure. However, it doesn't alter the outcome or alleviate the pain. We miss Ethan and our family is forever changed." Conway School Superintendent Jeff Cravey previously told KOMO News that Chapin went to Conway Elementary School in Mount Vernon from kindergarten through the 8th grade before attending Mount Vernon High School. Let's see. KOMO News went to Conway Friday to talk with people who live there about the news. "I'm really happy there's an arrest. I hope it's the right guy, and they'll get some answers about why it happened," said Cypress Wendler, who runs a store in Conway's small downtown. "Hopefully the family will get some closure." Friday morning news broke that police had arrested Washington State University graduate student Bryan Kohberger, 28 years old, of Pullman, Washington, in connection with the slayings. Kohberger was taken into custody in Pennsylvania and is in the process of being extradited back to Letchole County Idaho, where prosecutors announced murder charges have already been filed against him. Okay.
You know, a lot of word about closure, but they got a long way to go.
Oh, yeah.
I feel so bad for the family. They've got a lot of grieving.
Yeah.
I know they say closure, and I'm so happy, but
Yeah, it's
just
forever.
beginning the process of going through all, you know.
Oh, yeah.
More
No,
than anybody.
and it'll never, ever end.
You know,
Yeah,
it
never
never goes
ends.
away.
Never.
Just different stages, right?
Right.
You would know.
It's never going to go. Okay, let's see here. Here's something. What is this now? Look at this. This was posted on something called Social Grep. And it's about his research project again.
Social
5/31, yeah, the Social Grep. 5/31/2022. And it said, "My name is Bryan." It's the same thing now. About I'm inviting you and into a research project that seeks to understand, it's everything that he said. And it's linking here. So he just like cross-promoted this everywhere.
So where would you promote this if you're putting this questionnaire out? I wonder. You said criminals, I get that, or
Yeah,
wonder
well,
where.
He had this, I guess this will promote to Reddit. And so we had it going into there, but I guess this is just another forum that will bring them to
Right.
Reddit so that he could get that word out there. So this was really important to him because 5/31/2022, wait, isn't he done with school? Why is he posting that now? That's May 31st of 2022. He graduated.
Right,
Why is he still doing this thing?
right.
Right? And why is he just posting that? It's weird. Very weird.
Maybe it's part of his thesis.
No, but it's 5:30. I mean, they would have graduation by now. He'd be done.
Because they graduate and they stop to work on their thesis, right?
Yeah, but he was going out to Idaho to go
Right,
start.
I
You know what I
get it,
mean?
yeah.
He's not going to be able to use the facilities. Like, I think he's using for all of this research. He's using everything over at DeSalle's.
Right.
DeSalle's, right? So how? I don't know. Unless he's going to do it over the summer. He planned to do it over the summer, and just
Well, you
still
got a
use.
long time to do a thesis, so maybe,
No, but
I don't
yeah,
know. I'm
but
guessing.
I mean, he's got to move out to Idaho at least by
Correct.
August, right? So that's say May's
But he was
over,
planning to come back, right?
June, July.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I guess he could think that okay, I'll work on this in June and July over here, and see if I can get. But it just makes it interesting. I don't know. It
I
makes
hear
it-
you. You're right. If this is just a research project, it should have been over.
Treasure Lake RV Resort Club. Where can you find someone?
But maybe sometimes when you put out an ad, it runs for 30 days and
Yeah, I don't know. Just interesting.
can you imagine if that was his thesis? Oh my word.
Let me see. Crime survey questions. Tap talk. Let's see this one. Another one. What is this? Oh, somebody put that in here. I want to be part of his study. That was just now. Okay.
Put in the context, it's so creepy. Like profile a profiler.
Yeah, it's so weird. That's just weird. Weird. Was it Redditor looking for research, but just participate in psychedelic research? Okay. Psychedelic research. Let me see something here.
I'm amazed how fast he got a lawyer. I mean, usually that's not something on the top of your head, a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in another Pennsylvania if he's been living in Idaho and Washington.
What was his background? I'm sure he asked for his public defender right away.
Is that what it is, public defender?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. You have to fill out a form for that. He did it pretty fast.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me go over here. What thesis he will write? What thesis he will write? Yeah, I'll have plenty of time, right, to finish. Yeah, he could probably work on multiple degrees where he's going to be, and he can maybe I don't know, maybe he could set up a crime lab in the prison, right?
Right? Crime lab in prison.
Maybe, like he could
They're
try to
hilarious.
recreate that crime lab, and he'd have plenty of subjects for his research. That's the one good thing, right? He'd have probably never-ending subjects,
I mean,
and they've all got
forever.
convicted, obviously, unless there's some in
Forever.
there on the Innocence Project.
He's not going to be bored.
Maybe
Yeah, Innocence Project.
maybe he'll actually enjoy that. Seriously, doing all that research in there.
Well, if he's introverted and likes being alone and
Yeah.
head in the research,
Hi, Alley Cat Tails. Yeah, he'll be really deep into it.
fit right in.
Absolutely.
Conduct interviews for money on your books.
So anyway, I'm gonna go over to the Zoom, go in the massage chair for a couple of cycles. So if you're a member of Patreon, you want to go into the Zoom, come with us, and but the rest of you, will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Try to, keep it to the facts as much as we can. I mean, there's speculation out there, and of course, but there's just some plain, just craziness, people creating profiles and just saying things, and it just, it's all too much. But I appreciate you all coming in. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Prayers for all that need them. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks,
Happy
Carolyn.
New Year. Happy New Year to the ones that it's Happy New Year in Australia and New
Bye,
Zealand and
Randall.
stuff. Do you
Happy
think
New
it is
Year.
why he decided to
Happy
go
New
across
Year
the
to
country
you.
to attend graduate school so that he could fulfill his fantasy of killing? I don't know, Angelique. I don't know. I'm very interested. I
Almost
think there's
sounds
got to
like
be
it.
something that brought him out there.
Right.
Some kind of connection that brought him out there. Deidre said he should have gone to prison to do his research. Maybe he
Right.
would have thought of that before committing such a horrible crime. Exactly, Deidre. Good
Absolutely.
to see you,
You
Deidre. I
didn't
hope
have
you're
to-
doing well. Happy New Year to everybody that has a new year before we see them. And the
Happy
rest
New
of you
Year.
will see. Hey, Larky. Larky's here. Member for 31 months. Thank you very much, Larky. Rambler Special Agent. Thank you. Okay, so we will go into the Zoom and see you guys. Bye
Bye,
now.
chat. Bye, panel.
Peace, love, and light to all.
Love you.
Bye. Let's go.
Bye.